I'll begin the questions first for you, Ian. Yesterday's game we know was quite long and a difficult one for you. What was your strategy coming into today's game?
Basically, it was the same as for another, for other games with white colors. So just try to pull something out to the opening. So, I mean, in general, I think, roughly speaking, white had quite slight advantage. But once again, in these symmetrical structures, even despite, let's say, I had the control over a file, it's like very small, and I guess it was like a nice nice line like this: bishop b3, and with the idea of c5 here, just simplifying the position. And maybe rook to c1 was slightly more a worthy try, but I guess more or less the same. Just closer to equality.
Was yesterday's game have any impact on your choice of opening today?
Absolutely not. Also, by the way, it was quite a new experience to play two games at the same day. I somehow I thought that at the World Championship match level it should be like a little bit different, other in some open tournaments. But once we start that late, it suddenly backfires and ending like after dark.
The first half of the match is over. Your feeling about how it's gone so far?
It's not going too well because in general, I guess I had quite some promising positions, and I believe also yesterday was some kind of eclipse which prevented me from grabbing b4 pawn twice in a row. But yesterday's game was just kind of poor from both sides, I believe, especially during the time trouble. But otherwise, I think it's pretty much sensible, and it's very much fighting.
May I ask you, Magnus, after yesterday's huge fight, today's result, just what the doctor ordered?
Yeah, it's okay. I obviously remembered my first match against Vichy, where I broke through and won the fifth game, and then I managed to sort of gradually equalize with black in the sixth, and eventually win. So I was like slightly hoping that we could follow a similar scenario, but a draw is obviously a very nice result as well.
Any concerns from the opening today?
No, it was the usual. So obviously white is a tiny bit better, but as long as you cannot see a clear way to increase the advantage, it's usually going to evaporate.
We've had 7 games. The first half is over. How would you evaluate the state of the match at the moment?
No, obviously it's with yesterday's result, it's going pretty well. But it's a long way to go. Half the match still. I've made my breakthrough, so the state is good.
May I ask the reporters to begin the questions? We'll begin that phase, and please go ahead.
Hello, a question for Mr. Ian Nepomniachtchi. You say yourself that you put yourself in good positions, and today you played with white. Was this a missed chance?
Today was surely no missed chances. I think for any of us, was a very, very balanced game, and I believe it was just boring.
You have still more 7 games to do it. You're 1 point under. When are you going to attack?
Well, when time comes.
Question is for Magnus. Magnus, I'm going to guess that when you turned your phone on yesterday, you had a slew of congratulations. Are there any that you'd like to share, the message or some prominent person?
No, I'll keep the gossip to a minimum.
Question for Ian. What is it you're doing in the back room?
Sitting on sofa basically and watching, the screen. So it reminds me of playing during the quarantine times. Yeah, it's very similar. You sit in front of your screen and you try to think. So maybe it's even more familiar right now than playing regularly out of the board.
Because of the pandemic and playing so much online?
Yeah, I mean, okay, it became already at some point a habit.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for Magnus. The United Arab Emirates is often criticized for its human rights records. Did you have any concerns before agreeing to play the match here?
Yeah, that's a tough question. No, no comment.
Jan, you're at the pinnacle of a chess player's career playing for the World Championship, but is this process fun for you?
I believe depends on the result. So once I win, it will be fun. Once, once not, then okay, obviously no fun at all.
Magnus, the question is for you. Today in the opening, you seem to be taking an unusually large amounts of time between the 11th and 16th moves, almost about more than 45 minutes. What happened? Was it anything to do with the preparation, remembrance, or the position?
I was just trying to choose the way that I play, and there are some subtle differences between the choices. So that was it. But in general, I felt that it's a position where it's quite static. And
question for you, Ian, if you don't mind my asking, did you manage to get a good sleep after the previous game?
Well, obviously, since I came back to hotel like a few hours later than usual, obviously it was less sleep than normally. But I mean, in general, once you are that tired, of course, you sleep well.
Thank you.
John, I'd like to ask you sort of about the opening, and before the match, would you say that the marshal was something you were expecting?
Absolutely. So the marshal is one of the main choices for Magnus, I think, within his career, and it's just a very decent and proved and a very fireproof choice for a match as well. So I mean, of course, you can't rely on playing against Marshall only, but I mean, even Marshall itself, is quite a hard nut to crack.
Question is for Magnus. Magnus, you're a big chess historian. You seem to recall that Karpov-Korchnoi stalemate at a moment's notice yesterday. Where would you rank your game yesterday in the pantheon of World Championship games?
Let's leave that to chess historians who are not involved in the match.
I have a question for Magnus. Yesterday, when you arrived for the game, I noticed that in the car you were kind of jamming to some music. Could you share with us what you were listening to? And
I'll leave that question to the musical expert in our team, so he can answer that question at another time. I'm not the one who decides.
But you usually listen to music before the game. We just want to know how much is it important for you to have something like this before the game.
It's nice to lighten the mood. Usually we arrive a little bit earlier than we have to have at least some extra time in case there's traffic. So. Spending those few minutes just listening to music, I think, very healthy.
Thank you.
Did you criticize that you had to play on the same day in the opening here, or was it just that? Is it okay for you to play again the same day?
Yeah, I think it depends on the result. If you win, you don't normally criticize. So, but frankly, it turns out that with these 7 hours time control, I never thought about this before the match, but now, I mean, I found out it's quite weird that basically you can finish your game after midnight. Yeah, that was sort of unexpected.
Question is to Jan. Yesterday was a very long game and also filled with a lot of ups and downs. Yet after the game, you were relatively calm. You came to the press conference. Also, you were answering questions quite in detail. Usually in World Championship press conferences, we see that someone, when they lose, they do not answer so much. So how do you keep yourself mentally strong, and how are you able to do this?
But I think I'm in general mentally strong.
And I have a question for Magnus, if you would answer. Every day you come to the tournament with your head trainer Peter Heine Nilsson, and one more person. Could you tell us a bit about the other person?
No, he's Magnus is part of the team, part music expert, fashion expert, hype man. He has many different roles.
Magnus, it's clear that there's been a pattern in your opening approach in the Caruana match, and now the match, here. Both, in the first match it was Sveshtikov, and there was no change, and now Jan's first 4 games haven't changed at all, and this until this sort of, after Castles. Why do you think both of your opponents haven't chose to deviate if you've been so solid?
I would say it's just hard in general to gain a big advantage, and you could look at it the other ways as well. Like Jan is getting objectively slightly better positions from the opening, and how much more can you really expect? So I guess in a sense, both of us are relatively happy with the result there.
But it seems that you definitely have a different approach. You've been deviating with E4 and D4. If you're so confident, and sort of, why not, focus on the Petrov? Why not focus on the Catalan?
I would say that we have somewhat different approaches in that sense. He's playing openings where it's not so easy to put slight pressure. He's trying to solve his problems by force with black, that's one of the reasons why it's harder to try and poke at the in the same places every time.
Thank you.
Jan, I have one more question for you. What Magnus said, he doesn't feel that you're going to change strategy. Either player wants to change strategy right at this point. Would you agree?
But I won't tell you.
Fair enough. There have been a lot of great World Championship matches over the years. If you could watch one match between any 2 players of any era, who would you choose?
Well, currently I'm watching my match, yeah, so once I'm done with this, I will think.
Magnus?
Then it would be a close race, probably Kasparov Karpov from Seville, closely followed by Aljechin Capablanca from Buenos Aires.
Could you elaborate on why those 2 are your favorites?
Those 2 are awesome. Very tightly contested, with great ideas between clearly the best players of their time.
All right, well, we have 2 of the greatest players of our time here.